Well, now something's coming on too strong, and I just can't seem to get along. I always try to write a song, but sometimes the words ain't coming out right. Just my niece has left tonight. But as long as I've got a pipe, let's go.
Hello, Internet, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of You Can't Brew That on Television. We are your hosts. I am the Reverend Ryan Bono.
And I am Kyle, Rescue Me LaPointe.
And we are here, as we always are, to help you bridge the gap between beer snob and frat boy. Kyle, what do we got on tap tonight?
We have Star Hill Brews, our volumes 3 and 4.
Do we ever? Volumes 1 and 2 were epic, and I cannot wait for volumes 3 and 4 because these guys can really brew some beer.
It feels like just minutes ago that we drank volumes 1 and 2.
You know, time just flies like that, man.
I think it's just the fondness of the memory of what we've been drinking because they were remarkable beers. The Star Hill Brewery, like I said, I had some of their stuff about 3 years ago. Really good brewery. I think it's just getting better and better. The quality here is just quite amazing.
I haven't had their stuff, but if this is an indication of things to come, I'm really looking forward to the next two that we try from them. So we're also going to roll out a new segment tonight called 30-Second News. I think that's going to be fun. We're going to have quick little news bites. And there's a lot of stuff that we want to talk about. We can't really justify a full segment. Well, we could justify a full segment.
Right, we could talk about
but it might bore the heck out of you. So we're going to try to bring you more news in a less boring format. And that's going to be what that's about.
We're also going to talk about a couple of larger news stories that we'll go a little more in depth with. Some neat little stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Some news on our own personal front. And it's good stuff.
All right.
So I'll tease it, but there may be a little Bono running around with little Kyle eyes. I don't think it's actually humanly possible.
I don't think that it is.
Okay.
So without further ado, let's get on to segment 3 of our 3-part series, our 4-part series. I can't talk. All right, we're gonna rewind. Just pretend you didn't see that last 15 seconds or so. So without any further ado, we're gonna get on to part 3 of our 4-part series on Star Hill Brewing.
We have today the Jomo Lager, which is, I guess, from talking to the folks over there at Star Hill, this is probably their most popular beer. Hitting up some of the bars in the area, our producer spent some time there in Virginia, says you'll find this on tap just about everywhere.
And really, this is a well-decorated beer. It's won a number of awards at the Great American Beer Festival, which, we don't have to tell you, is fairly prestigious. I mean,
no easy feat.
Absolutely. I mean, you're winning beers at GABF. You are definitely doing something right. So this beer looks like it's gonna be a Vienna lager.
And this style from the localites around here, the St. Arnold's brewed their Oktoberfest, entered it as a Vienna lager, and were able to win that style, a gold medal, I think 3 years ago maybe. But very good style of beer, very positive representation of what the German styles of beer tend to be.
Absolutely, and just smelling this beer right off the bat, you're getting like a really nice light malty sweetness, a little bit of like a biscuity type of malt.
Yeah, it's got that rich melanoidin aroma.
Yeah,
you've got bread in the nose. This is just exactly what you would want out of a German lager.
Exactly what you would want out of a German lager, and just tasting it really quick, it's crisp. It's delicious. It's got enough bitterness to really balance out that malt.
Yeah, it's definitely, I'd say, towards the top end of the style as far as the bitterness. I didn't see that in any of the stuff that.
I don't know the style off the top of my head, but I don't think they typically run this bitter. But I mean, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, and I think it's part of the dryness of this beer in general too.
Yeah.
But I'd say that the bitterness comes out a little more pronounced than I was expecting, but it's very tasty.
One thing I'm really catching, just looking at the body of work that we've tasted tonight from Star Hill, is they seem to be doing something right over there with their yeast attenuation.
Yes.
Because each of the beers that we've tried has had a full yeast attenuation. They're really doing something right as far as that goes, and this is definitely no exception.
No, crystal clean beer. It's a nice color. That's what they teach us.
That's a nice color.
In the beer judging world is how to tell something is a nice color or
the word of a certified beer judge is a nice color.
So
Kyle, let's get down to it, man. What do you think? Let's rate this beer.
You know, I'm going to have to say that this is probably my least favorite of the 3 we've had so far to style. But drinking the beer alone, this is a good beer. I like this beer.
This is a good beer. This is let's do this. Let's rank this as a lawnmower beer. You just got it's 105 degrees right outside. It's Texas in August. You just got done mowing the lawn. How good is this beer going to be?
It's the one I'd reach for first. I mean, this is perfect for that.
I would definitely agree because it's got enough bitterness just to really wash it out. Really, really nice beer. I'm going to go 3.5 legs up.
Yeah, and I'm going to go 3. I'm a little bit lower than you on this one, 3 legs up. It's, just because I'm going, I wanted a little more malt front than on the Vienna Lager, but I'm happy with what I got. I think if I hadn't known it was a Vienna Lager going in, I would have been very pleased with just drinking this as a beer.
And I'll give you that. I'm not ranking it as a Vienna Lager. I'm ranking it as a beer. So, cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, Star Hill.
All right, so
yummy.
Euphemism.
Yes, it is. That is what Bono and I call trimming our hair. Oh, because we have shaved heads, so we have to trim our hair.
Yeah, because we have to trim our hair. So now we're moving on.
Derailing. Okay,
all right, derailing. Now we're going to move on to a segment called 30-Second News.
I'm ready.
All right, so let's go. Stone, one of our favorite breweries, is rolling out a favorite of theirs, the Enjoy by IPA. And this year's Enjoy by IPA is Enjoy by April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2013. It's going to be hitting most states and our viewing audience on February 27th. So, Kyle, what do you think about that? I don't know about you. I'm excited.
I like that concept because they put out that beer and they're basically saying that they're going to roll out a fresh beer, drink it now.
Yeah, drink it.
This isn't a cellar beer. Put it in there, let's go. I'm hoping that one day they release an Enjoy by Kyle LaPointe beer.
Oh, good idea. Write that down. Megan, can you write that down for us? Thank you.
Okay, so the next thing we found out is that one of the breweries there in lovely San Francisco has decided to not only make beer, but also make malt liquor. So apparently, malt liquor is now a thing. I didn't realize that.
So we're out here every Wednesday, every Tuesday, trying to help you bridge the gap between beer snob and frat boy. And they're trying to bridge the gap between beer snob and wino.
Right. They apparently need more than just a bottle to consume that. You also need a paper sack.
This to me is such a hipster thing because only a hipster would look at a really big, high-alcohol beer that's just loaded with adjuncts and garbage and go, oh, I really want to have that.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Can you put more corn in there?
Can I please have some more rice in my beer? This beer is too tasty. All right.
And if you can't get your bottle of malt liquor in a bag, what should you reach for?
That's a good point. I wonder if it comes with a brown bag. Yeah, we should look into that. Rich, our producer, we need to do some research on that for us. So, in other news,
segueing into the
good call.
The format of the next one.
Sam Adams has announced that is going to start canning its beer.
Alternatively to brown bottles and paper sacks.
Yeah, alternatively.
Here's our segue, folks.
And this to me is just the latest in a long line of evidence pointing to the fact that Sam Adams is no longer a leader in the craft beer industry. It is a follower. And it took a long time for Sam Adams to... It's not like one craft brewery did it.
No.
And then Sam Adams jumped on. Craft breweries have been doing this for the better part of a decade. And Sam Adams just now was like, oh, hey, that might be cool.
One of our local breweries is looking to hire an engineer for just that sole purpose of starting a mobile canning line in Texas.
Yeah.
So they were, they're already jumping on it as well.
So, I mean, Sam Adams, do something to get your edge back because you've lost it.
I don't know, man. I saw some cherry apple wine wheat beer or something in the store the other day. I think they're kind of like I've always said about the Sam Adams. I think that they give a good access to various styles that other people may not have had, and I think they're out of those, and now they're just making whatever they can throw in there.
I think they're just grasping at straws at this point.
So, my favorite news of the night is Bono finally got goaded in to taking the BJCP exam.
I did get goaded in. Actually, I did get sort of half dragged into it.
Right.
And I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And, he took what they refer to in the BJCP land as the drinking exam. And I think from looking at his scores, talking to Mr. James Lalande, who ran this year's tasting, I think he did pretty good. So we're hoping to have another certified, maybe potential national level judge here standing in front of you soon.
Sounds like I might be all grown up.
Yeah, which is pretty interesting because Bono decided to start a new mouthwash at the same time, which was dampening his ability to actually taste things, and so that was difficult for him.
True story, actually. I got my sense of taste back around the middle of beer 3. It started to come back slowly. I'd been on some really heavy drugs last week, and with each beer that I drank, I went back and tried the first one again, and the scores got lower every time I went back.
Which is amazing.
I ended up rewriting the entire score sheet during the exam.
Which is great, because your scores ended up being reflective of what
they ended up being close enough. So,
and I find that quite fun, because ether, which is what he's been on most of last week, is, it's a fairly substantial drug. And I'm surprised that it wore off halfway through that.
Well, you were using ether. Rich was using chloroform. So I think that the two combined, I think they balance each
other out.
So next, we're going to introduce you to part 4 of our 4-part segment on Star Hill. So without any further ado, let's jump into a beer that we've really been looking forward to, because we've heard a lot of good things about this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Star Hill's most decorated beer. This is the Dark Star Stout. I'm excited about it. Bono's excited about it. The reason why is because this is one of our favorite all-time styles. We love dry stout. We've done fairly well in competitions over the year brewing our dry stout. It's something that we not only enjoy drinking, but we enjoy brewing it. So it's a style we're very familiar with. Really looking forward to one like this that's been decorated at such high levels. I mean, this has been clamored over at GABF multiple times. I think I remember seeing that it's got, 4 or 5 gold medals? Something ridiculous something in that neighborhood.
Yeah,
this is a very highly decorated beer. People, the critics absolutely love it. And just taking my first sniff and smelling that big roast that really just jumps out of the bottle and just really reaches your nose. I'm really excited to try this.
I like it. It's not overly roasty without giving you something else. You get a little bit of a creamy note to it, too.
Yeah, there's some cream. There's a little bit of creaminess, and you're not getting that astringency. Brewers that try to go with this big roast a lot of times really fall into sort of an astringent character in their beer, and that just isn't in this.
No, that's got that. That's very smooth. It's very light on the palate, and dry stout should be. This is an excellent representation of the style. When Bono and I brew this beer, we typically brew it towards the max end of the style, to where we're maxing out all the flavor components. Really, more or less, because that's where you stand a chance to win certain aspects of competitions.
This is phenomenal.
This is amazing. Yeah, this is a really good beer.
I don't even know what I can. This is amazing. So the roast is there. There's like a creamy kind of heaviness that's actually expected in the style. No, the producer is just dying to get his hands on a bottle, and rightly so, because this is some unbelievable stuff.
This is really good, and it drinks like a dry stout should. It drinks very fast in bigger gulps. You can see a nice layer of carbonation on the top, a nice tan head. But it's not overly carbonated to where when you take a drink that you feel like, oh man, I got to let that carbonation settle before I have the next drink. You're taking it in 1 ounce chews.
Yeah.
And
what do you think? Let's rate this.
This is 4 legs up.
4 legs up.
This is chin hitting the ground.
This is an amazing beer, Star Hill, and I thank you for sending it to us.
I would say more, but I'm busy.
Oh my gosh, well done. So this concludes our 4-part series on the beers of Star Hill Brewing. Thank you, Star Hill, for helping us out with this. We hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did. Thanks to Jennifer Hine, who helped us get this set up. And
I would like to say also, Star Hill, the way they packaged and shipped this beer is a testament to those who should ship beer in this fashion every given time that they ever ship beer. The box of beer was layered on each side with bubble wrap, including the bottom, underneath the inside case holder. Then each individual bottle was wrapped in newspaper, and then the top was also layered in bubble wrap and loose newspaper.
Nice.
And the whole thing was like taped together, like you could throw it off a roof, and all the bottles would still survive, which I think has done well for shipping all the beers from Virginia all the way over here.
And that gives me an idea for a fun future show segment.
Will it ship?
Well, let's ship. We've got 3 engineer-minded people here. Let's each build our own shipping device and like toss it off a roof or something and see if the bottle breaks. And we have to go for weight.
I like that. You know, it's like the old egg drop contest.
Yeah, exactly. Egg drop. All right. That's a future segment, everybody. Until then, though, we've got a couple little pieces of news that we want to talk about before we let you go. First one's coming from our friends up in Alaskan Brewing. You know, do you know exactly where Alaska is? Is it in Juneau?
Alaska is like, it's not
quite
part of the continent.
Brewery, not the state.
No, I don't.
Okay. Either way. It looks like we've got the article pulled up here, so it'll probably tell you where it is. Alaskan Brewing has experimenting with something that I think is a really cool idea. My company actually works in something similar to this. We could have contracted to help them design this, but we didn't. I know, right? So what they're doing is they're taking their spent grains, which all breweries have spent grains. You know, we talk about our spent grains. We compost them.
Turn them into dog treats.
Yeah, we had Stubby on the show to teach us how to turn them into dog treats one time. You know, you do creative stuff with your spent grains. We feed them to the chickens.
They love it.
Alaskan is actually converting the spent grains into a fuel to run a generator that actually provides electricity for the brewery. And they're jokingly referring to this as beer-powered beer.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really unique concept. It's something that apparently they've been doing for a long time. You know, they've been doing that in a small source, you know, and then they said, you know what, we're going to go full scale, and we're going to try to power the entire brewery off of that. They spent millions of dollars setting up their equipment to get this to run the first time.
And from what it appears, this is going to be millions of dollars very well spent, because the average annual savings in electricity that they're looking at is somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000. And that's per year. Now, most breweries sell their spent grains to farmers and ranchers, and they get fed to cattle and whatever else. But it's Alaska. There's no cattle. So they really haven't been making much money off of their spent grains.
And, I've heard some recent news about the, because normally you have petting zoos and people will, you can give food to petting zoos. But apparently the black bears and the brown bears don't exactly play nice with the hand feeding of spent grains. So they've kind of gone away with that as being one of their main tourist attractions.
Race riots. I mean, they happen to every species.
So that's just what you need to know, is that most of the colored bears in Alaska are, they're a little bit different. They don't really treat people the same.
That's what we really needed to get out of this story. Thanks, Kyle.
Oh, what? What, did I go?
It was a thinly veiled dissertation on race relations. You saw right to the point of the story.
Alaska, the only point in America that's ever been invaded by another foreign country since, basically, if you want to consider it, since the time it was a solvent United States of America.
What was Hawaii? Well, I guess Hawaii wasn't invaded.
It was just bombed.
Yeah.
But it was actually invaded. They said basically some giant storm was the only thing that kind of they were like, screw it. Alaska sucks. They got out of there.
You can have it.
Really? It's wintertime in Alaska and it's nasty and cold and stormy?
Like when the Nazis tried to invade Russia and they're like, holy crap, it's cold here. Let's go home.
You guys can have it.
Yeah, y'all have fun.
They just started right there where the czars were, and they had some good Russian imperial stouts, and they're like, oh yeah, we want more of this stuff.
Russia's awesome. And then they got out away from the cities, and they're like, screw this.
So yeah, the full-powered breweries and bears that are racists, and it's just amazing what you're doing up there, Alaska.
The green energy and racist bears. You heard it here first. All right, we got kind of a fun piece of news. I think this is really cool.
This is one really really neat thing.
Kyle, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I'll kick this off. To me,
first let's talk about Kickstarter. Tell us a little bit about Kickstarter. What is Kickstarter?
Kickstarter's a website that you can basically put up a business idea and a concept that you need funding for to push to the next level. Say you need an investment of $100,000 to be able to adequately push your idea into production.
And this is one of the cool things about the internet and this whole new way of things is that 20 years ago, if somebody wanted to promote an idea like the one we're about to discuss, they would have had to go to banks and try to sell it, and they probably would have fallen flat on their faces.
Or Mark Cuban.
Right, but it's the year 2013, so if you want to do something like this, you just go to the internet, and what do you say, Kyle?
You say, "Please, sir, may I have some more?" You ask for money from every human being.
For what?
Oh, on this particular site, you ask for money to start your project on renewable energy to power your cell phone.
And we tonight is a night of renewable. We probably should have saved all these stories for Earth Day, but that's okay. That's okay.
Every day is Earth Day.
What kind of renewable energy are we looking at? Renewable energy.
Well, I don't know about you, but my hand is kind of cold.
Mine is as well.
And so, because my hand is cold, I must pick up my daughter, who says, "Dad, pick up Shar Shar." So, because this energy source in my hand is cold, it can also be chilled or warmed up to change the difference in this electric motor and create energy.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying,
I tried to jump in.
By putting this cool thing on top of a motor, they can transform that energy into power for your cell phone.
So there's a group on Kickstarter called Epiphany One who is raising money to begin mass production of a device that would turn a hot or cold drink into a cell phone charger. So you could go to a bar and you could get your beer and you could set it on a device while you're not drinking it that would charge your cell phone using the energy expended by your cold beer.
Which is great. There's also coffee in the morning for when you're trying to recover from the beer that you had the night before.
So this works coming and going.
They've got a blue side and a red side. I'm not sure. Now I wonder if the blue side is supposed to be to tell you that you're supposed to put a hot source on it to make
it red. Yeah, I don't know. No.
To make those things together.
I'm sure it'll come with an instruction manual.
God, I hope so.
We'll have to get a few of those for You Can't Brew That on television. So I want one on set because every time I'm here, my cell phone seems like it's dying. So.
And you know how when you're trying to plug in the USB, how although it looks the same, it never plugs in right, and you always end up going like 3 or 4 times because you realize the first way you tried to do it was not quite perfectly angled in there, but it was the right orientation. That's what I feel like should happen on this too. I think when you flip it over, it should adjust it so that you always can put your USB the same way.
Oh, you already had a whole bottle.
Oh.
Screw you.
What?
I was going to give Rich part of our bottle, but
no, this dry stout is amazing.
This dry stout is really good. All right, so
we've got the Super Saison there with the frozen.
Yeah, got the ice Saison. So Kyle, what did we learn tonight?
Well, we learned that even if we try a new segment for 30-second news, we will still talk about it for a minute and a half to 2 minutes per.
We have to keep aiming for 30 seconds, though, because if we say, oh, well, we can make it 45, so we'll just keep going over more and more until it becomes an hour and a half long. So 30-second news, though, was fun, and I think we learned tonight that it's a segment worth keeping.
No, I like that. We can't do it every week because we probably don't have enough little things like that.
Well, we don't broadcast every week.
That's true.
Yeah, so
and we also, though, can learn that Star Hill Brewery can brew some friggin' beer.
Star Hill Brewery is doing something right. And those guys can really brew.
Come to Texas.
Yeah.
We learned that those
all
hippies...
All you gotta do is toss a couple of cases over to distributors in Texas. They will slam them all around the area.
And unrelated news, we know some distributors, so... I'm just saying.
Just saying.
We also learned that those hippies up at Alaskan Brewing like to make green energy using beer.
And those hippies on Kickstarter like to also make green energy into an energy for your phone.
Hipsters.
All right. So we would like you to keep in mind that we are not professionals.
So please try this at home.
There's one thing I've said, though I'm not known to be wise. When I hear someone crying out, lamenting, I just look them straight in the eyes and say,
oh God, that is awful.
oh, you're not the only one who ever came up from nothing, Lord, and you're not